Kamusta mga brad? Pag-usapan natin ang pagkalap ng Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos ng investment pledges mula sa mga Belgian companies. Kung bago ka lang sa aking channel, huwag kalimutang i-click ang subscribe button at notification bell para updated ka sa mga kwento at trivia na gaya nito. Let's go! Sa pagpunta ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa Brussels, Belgium para sa Association of Southeast Asian Nations European Union o ASEAN-EU Commemorative Summit, nakipagpulong siya sa hindi bababa sa 40 kumpanya na interesadong mag-invest sa Pilipinas. Ang mga bagong investment na ito ay pagpapakilala ng bagong economic policies ng gobyerno na kung saan ang Pilipinas ay mas magiging attractive investment destination. Kabilang sa policies na ito ay ang Corporate Recovery and Tax Incentives for Enterprises o CREATE Law at ang pagtanggal sa foreign ownership restrictions at paggamit ng mas malaking porsyento ng renewable sources of energy na nakakap lang noon sa 40%. Nasa halos 4.7 billion pesos na investment pledge ang nakuha ng Pilipinas mula sa multinational consumer goods company na Unilever. Ang kanilang planta ay expected na mag-hire ng 113 na trabahador at ang private investment na ito ay inaugurate sa first quarter ng 2023. Bukod doon, 1.5 billion pesos naman ang nirenew na commitment ng French shipbuilding firm na OSIA. Ang OSIA ay nangunguna pagdating sa aluminum shipbuilding. Nag-o-offer din ito ng marine security, passenger transportation, multipurpose, workboats at luxury motor yachts. Ayon sa OSIA, ang investment na ito ay makakapaglikha ng 500 hanggang 600 na trabaho sa Pilipinas. Makakatulong din ito sa mga mangingisda sa isang proyekto na katuwang ang Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources o BFAR. Ang shipbuilding sites ng OSIA ay posibleng itayo sa Mariveles sa Bataan, Batangas, Pangasinan at Subic. May mga bagong kontrata rin ng kumpanya na under negotiation pa para gumawa ng barko para sa Philippine Coast Guard o PCG at Philippine Merchant Marine Academy o PMMA. Ang global group na Acciona ay nangako rin kay Pangulong Marcos na mamumuhunan nito sa renewable energy sector ng Pilipinas at maging ang French firm na si Maris ay nagpayag din ng interes na makapagtayo ng wholesale market hub sa New Clark City sa Pampanga. Ito'y para makatulong sa mga lokal na magsasaka at para na rin mapababa ang presyo ng mga pagkain. Naipagpulong din si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos para sa isang roundtable discussion kasama ang mga business leaders at European Union member states. Pinag-usapan dito ang patungkol sa Philippine trade and investment policies at maging ang economic priorities nito. Dito nakausap din ng Pangulong iba pang mga potential investors para sa Pilipinas. Ayon kay Florian Gatin, na Executive Director ng European Chamber of Commerce in the Philippines, positibo ang naging tugon ng mga negosyante kay Pangulong Marcos sa kanyang panawagan na magkaroon ng mas maraming European investment sa Pilipinas at paghimok nito na suportahan na labanan ng epekto ng climate change. Sa isang press conference, binanggit ni Pangulong Marcos na marami pang kailangan para maisapinal ang plano laban sa climate change. Gayunpaman, malaki naman ang ambag ng joint statement para sa posisyon ng Pilipinas sa ASEAN-EU patungkol sa South China Sea. Binigyan din kasi ng EU ang importansya na mapanatili at maisulong ang kapayapaan, seguridad at malayang pagdaan sa South China Sea kasabay ng pagsunod sa umiiral na international law. Kabilang na ang UNCLOS o United Nations Conventions of the Law of the Sea pagdating sa pagresolba ng anumang hidwaan. Bukod doon, naipag-bilateral meeting din ang Pangulong Marcos at tumingi ito ng tulong sa Prime Minister ng Estonia na si Kaja Kallas patungkol sa digitalization efforts ng gobyerno sa kabila ng issue ng cyber attacks. Maging sa Prime Minister ng Netherlands na si Mark Rutte ay napag-usapan din nila ng Pangulo ang tungkol sa water management at defense. Sa pakikipag-usap naman ng Pangulo sa Prime Minister ng Czech Republic na si Peter Fiala, nagpakita ng interes ang Pangulo sa defense technology ng kanilang bansa na maaari ring makatulong sa modernization program ng Armed Forces of the Philippines o AFP. Si Pedro Sanchez Perez Castellon naman na Prime Minister ng Spain ay nagpahayag na handang magbigay ng suporta at tulong para sa kapayapaan ng Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao o BARMM.
Well, I'm pleased to be back in Manila after what was a very productive ASEAN-EU Business Summit and Commemorative Summit in Brussels, Belgium. Yesterday, during the Commemorative Summit, we had fruitful discussions with ASEAN and EU member states leaders. We exchanged views on what is in store for ASEAN-EU cooperation, particularly on areas of mutual interest and concerns such as connectivity, trade, digital transition, food security, climate change, geopolitics, amongst others. I was honored to deliver one of the opening remarks during the commemorative summit, in which I was proud to note the recent milestones in ASEAN-EU relations under the Philippines coordinatorship, the adoption of the ASEAN-EU Plan of Action for 2023 to 2027, and the successful conclusion of the first ever summit between ASEAN and EU leaders. And this is a very significant development that the EU has turned very, very distinctly towards the Asia-Pacific region when it comes to the driving force behind the new global economy. And this is not really surprising, considering that in terms of geopolitical aggruppations, the EU and the ASEAN are two of the most active, best organized, and cohesive organizations in the world. And to put them together is a very important partnership because it is servicing over billions and billions of people, both in Europe and in the Asia Pacific. I also welcome the adoption of the Joint Leaders Statement at the ASEAN-EU Commemorative Summit, which is the product of intensive discussions between ASEAN and EU member states. At the 10th ASEAN-EU Business Summit, I shared the Philippines' perspective on deepening ASEAN-EU trade through efforts in sustainable development, which is the theme of the Business Summit spearheaded by the ASEAN-EU Business Council. The ASEAN-EU Business Council has a pivotal role to play in advancing ASEAN's regional economic integration and post-pandemic economic recovery efforts through its various initiatives and valuable recommendations, which have been very useful in terms of prioritizing areas and initiatives for ASEAN's regional economic integration. I also met with several business leaders from different European companies through the week, all of them committed to be part of our development and our economic growth, particularly in renewable energy, infrastructure, food security, climate change initiatives. With European technology and innovation, with Filipino talent and ingenuity and industry, we will be working on addressing some of our key economic challenges. I am happy to be able to announce that I have met with various leading ship owners all over Europe, and we were able to get their commitment to help our country hurdle some of the challenges in our seafarers EMSA accreditation through the creation of an advisory council composed of our concerned government agencies, international and local ship owners, and other stakeholders. Beyond that, I was able to meet with the EU Commission President, President Ursula von der Leyen, who is actually in charge of it is the Commission, it's not the EU. They are the ones who actually are the ones who provide that accreditation. So I explained to her what we have done, that we have this new advisory council, and she made the promise that that the Commission itself would provide technical help to us so that within the 3 months, we have a 3-month deadline, within the 3 months that we will be able to remedy all of the deficiencies that EMSA has been pointing out, and hopefully we finally solve this problem. I'm also looking forward to share more good news in the next few months that reaffirms the optimism with which how international investors view the Philippines today. Once again, as part of the Asia-Pacific region, we are seen still as coming back to our role as the driver of the global economy. And the Philippines is very much part of that. And we are considered as an investment by the Europeans. This is what they told me, that we are considered by the Europeans as number 2 in terms of investor attractiveness, next to Vietnam. So we are doing all right, but of course there's room to grow. Our delegation also organized a business roundtable that served as an important catalyst for the renewed relations of the Philippines and the EU business communities. I was joined by the economic managers and other cabinet members where I announced our recent game-changing laws that aim to transform our business environment significantly in favor of investors and support for inward foreign direct investments. I'm also pleased to announce that European business confidence in the Philippines is high, as evidenced by the expansion plans of European companies that we met in the sectors of fast-moving consumer goods, in shipbuilding, renewable energy, and green metals. An estimated investment pledge of around 9.8 billion pesos has been received. I was also able to call on the King of Belgium, who fondly recalls his visit to the Philippines many years ago, and I invited His Majesty to visit the Philippines again. I also held bilateral meetings with my counterparts from the European Council, the European Commission, Estonia, Sweden, Czech Republic, the Netherlands, and Spain, with whom I identified many possible areas of further development and future partnerships. We will follow these up until they come to fruition. Finally, my trip would not be complete without meeting, of course, our fellow Filipinos who are living in Belgium. However, it was not just limited to Belgium, as many came from as far as Italy, Poland, Germany, and Belgium to be with us at the gathering. It was a very fulfilling event, as I was able to personally thank them for their support. I was also able to hear their concerns and update them on the priorities of this administration. As a final note, I am delighted that my first visit to Europe, in Brussels in particular, which has the seals of the European Commission, the Council of the European Union, and the European Council, is a successful one. And I can see how the outcomes of this visit will generate opportunities for the benefit of the Filipino people. Ang naging downside lang ay nakakahiya yung presidente niyo dahil nung nagsasalita ako, papiyak-piyak ako na gano'n. Pero naintindihan naman daw nila. Sabi ko na, sorry na lang dahil yung mga winter ninyo hindi bagay sa Pilipino yan. Kaya ako nagkaganto. But anyway, besides that, I feel that we have laid much groundwork on which fertile groundwork on which we can plant the seeds of these new partnerships that we have spoken about with our friends and our partners in Europe. Maraming salamat po. Magandang gabi po sa inyo lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas.